Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the September 24th, 2025 meeting session of our Accessibility Advisory Committee. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We do have quorum. One of our committee members, Heather Murray, I understand is not able to make it today, but we do have quorum and we will proceed. And we'll begin having a brief moment of reflection, if you will, please. Thank you. Is there anyone with a disclosure of pecuniary interest? And if there is none, feel free to declare if something should come up during the meeting that you'd like to express. I should add that we are ably represented by two very special of our staff members, Sue Brown, our executive assistant, and Sarah Mahan, our director of community services and HR. And we'll likely be calling on you ladies throughout the afternoon. Members of the public are encouraged to provide the committee with their comments and questions. Presentations must be prearranged with legislative services before the agenda is released. Members of the public who wish to make a deputation about a specific agenda item at the meeting must register in advance with legislative services by 4 p.m. In this case, on September 23rd, 2025, by contacting clerk at meaford.ca or 519-538-1060, extension 1110. Presentations are limited to 10 minutes and deputations are limited to 5 minutes. And I read on the agenda that we have neither a presentation or a deputation at this time. So we'll move on to number 5, and that usually deals with the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting back on the 23rd of July. And we have a recommendation that the minutes of the July 23, 2025 meeting of the Accessibility Advisory Committee be approved as presented. And to do that, I'll need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Mary, thank you, and seconded by Sherman. Any discussion on that? Yes, Sarah, you go ahead.
Thank you, and through the chair. One of the items on the minutes from July 23rd were around Meaford moves. And I just would like to be able to provide a little bit of information further to the request of the information. Now, I'm not sure if we want to address that during the information session or if you want me to talk to it now.
I think now would be fine, Sarah, if it does
Sure.
refer back to the minutes. Yeah, you go ahead with what you have discovered.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So in performing our legislative duty to provide details to the province around our specialized transit, I've had an opportunity to really do a deep dive into the specialized transit that we call Meaford Moves. In 2023, we presented a report to council that gave an outline of the program, ridership, how much it was utilized, etc. In 2024, just due to staff shortages, we did not have that opportunity. And that was plain and simple because we were all kind of doing multiple jobs at the time. So my proposal to this advisory committee is that I am going to put a report together for the 2024 and the 2025 season in December to present first to our advisory committee, but then be able to present that to council. And I hope that that would all be acceptable to you all. But to give a little bit of information, just so you have a little bit of data to kind of go back and forth with. When I did a review in 2024, in August, and I use that because we're just into September, ridership was at 199. And in 2025, for August, we were at 190. So there's not a huge fluctuation there at all. I would be remiss to say that if I did not say that our riders have increased. We have approximately 308 cardholders that utilize Meaford Moves, which is absolutely amazing. And I look forward to being able to bring a more fulsome report to this committee so that we can get down to the nitty-gritty of the different pieces that fall under this data, which is ambulatory, non-ambulatory, those that require special assistance to ride. I'd like to get to that level of detail for all of you. Again, one of the other things that that had come forward through the month of August was a concern to one of our counselors that there was some inappropriate ridership going on within Meaford Moves. And so I did my due diligence and went back and looked through that. And in communication with our specialized transit provider for student, I'm very happy to say that there is no inappropriate riders utilizing that service. There are no students that are riding that the specialized transit. One of the other questions was, have there been changes to how Meaford Moves is supposed to work? And no, there has been no change on that. Are seniors still meant to have priority? Absolutely. And I will reiterate the note from First Student, from their manager. And it says, there are no students or unregistered riders riding the bus. Ridership has increased, and we do try to book more than one person when possible, i.e. if they are both going to the grocery store. However, that's not always possible, and we can only take one wheelchair at a time. Also, we are getting some last-minute calls, some which we can accommodate and others they cannot. And then it was, we can have some further conversation with that. I had let Councillor Forder know about the response that we did get from First Student. But one of the things that I also looked at was what other transit systems may be available so that we can potentially upgrade the services we provide. And I am looking into one right now with Blaze Transit. I just need to get a full connection with them to see what services they might be able to offer so that we could do something a little bit better on that front. But regarding the concern as well, I just wanted to reiterate, to be able to access transit, we do have a fulsome application form that needs to be filled out, and there are certain criteria that riders must meet to be able to ride that specialized transit. And I can confirm with our staff at the municipality of Meaford that we follow this to a T. And that's provided to First Student on the regular when there's new riders that are requesting to join. So again, I'm very happy to say that there is no inappropriate ridership. I think it is, we have an influx of people wanting to utilize the services, that need the services, and we need to explore a little bit more of how we can up the service to our residents in the best way possible. And again, I will be bringing a fulsome report to this committee prior to the full report going to council. So I hope that you all find that acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That was some interesting information. Questions, comments to Ms. Mahan? Mary?
Thanks. That was great. Just, I was wondering, and I don't know if you can even do this, but I know when we talked a couple of years ago about transit, one of the problems was that there's kind of bottleneck times. So that there are people that need to be at the day away program at the same time. You may have ridership that need to be at their support program. And I just didn't know if that was still a problem, but I just thought if you kept that in the back of your mind when you're doing the report, that might be kind of helpful that what do we do about bottleneck times? So.
And thank you through the chair. Yes, I absolutely all of those data points. And if there's those things that you think of, not just inside this meeting, but please email me or give me a call, and I'll be happy to take these notes down and see if I can't get some answers to some of this. So that, again, I want this to be a fulsome report so that we can identify what's working and what's not working so that we are able to provide the best to our residents.
Stuart?
Mr. Chair, you mentioned, I think, 190 riders or something like that. Do you anticipate in your deep dive being able to find how many rides those 190 people take? Because I know I use the service extensively. I probably use 75 times a year.
Yes, it
That's
actually,
important.
my apologies for interrupting. Yes, through the chair, absolutely. And we are very lucky that we do have that level of detail that comes to us. So I'll be able to pinpoint exactly what that looks like.
Yeah.
So it is very detailed. We do keep very detailed notes. And I must say, first student who is managing the program, the van for us, takes extreme well-documented notes on all of that and provides that to the municipality.
You mentioned student riders, Sarah. Now I'm assuming we're not providing access to schools or through our service, but we must have students who have accessibility problems. And I'm not sure if to me, I would think they're eligible to use the handy van to get to school. Certainly, they should be eligible to get to medical appointments or therapy appointments or anything like that. Can you just expand on that student area somewhat, please?
Yes, absolutely. The specialized transit is not just specified for a certain age group at all. However, there is priority to those based on needs assessment, of course. But absolutely, if students were to meet the criteria in the application, they would be able to access the transit as well. Again, that would up further the ridership. However, again, that's why I'm looking at other options for us as well, so that we're meeting all criteria under accessibility, because accessibility doesn't just affect a certain age group.
Thank you for that information. Mary?
Yeah. Historically, I'm the historical person here. Linda will probably remember this too. But that one time we did take students to school, but that then took away from all the other riders. So I think the Board of Education looks after the kids, and they're definitely, I live by the school, definitely there are vans arriving there all the time and that are probably done with first student, but they're dedicated to the school. But so that was the only kind of limitation on taking taking students was taking them actually to school, but other than that, then they could use the van for anything else. I don't know if that's still the way it is, but I think it is.
Yes, thank you through the chair. That is absolutely correct. It's got to meet the need. That's the key piece on this, the need of the rider, what other opportunities they have to get to and from. So again, I will happily address all of that via report as well. Thank you.
Thanks again. Any other questions, comments? And if not, I'll ask for your acceptance of the minutes from July 23rd. Everyone in favor of? Thanks. They are approved as presented. We'll move on, and we have, I think, what is a very, very interesting. Oh, what did I miss, sir?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. I just realized I may have made a little error. I meant to have Beautiful Joe first, just
Oh.
because they're here. And
Okay.
I wonder if that's okay. Can we, I'm sorry, I must have done it so fast.
Would anyone?
Is that okay?
Disapprove of? Okay, no, it's certainly fine with me, Sue. Now, like I thought maybe we might have a presentation from the two ladies, but what are we looking for? Are
they
we
have
we're looking for simply, not simply, but only a committee discussion or?
They're just going to speak to the changes with
Okay.
the park, but they didn't want to do a presentation. They just are going to speak.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Yes. Okay. Welcome, and for the benefit of all, if you ladies would identify yourselves, and then yes, by all means, go ahead. We're anxious to hear what you have to deliver.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. Our understanding was that we were going to answer questions that you had for us. So that was our understanding. So that's why we felt there was no need for a presentation. However, we're here to do just that. So my name's Linda Stevens. I'm chair of Beautiful Joe, and this is
Sharon Mansion, and I'm the vice chair.
Right.
Heritage Society.
Yeah, she does all the work.
I get paid the most.
Yes, she does. She absolutely does. So we do have some good news. So we thought we'll start with the good news first, if that's all right. Yep. Okay. So we have reached our goal of $130,000 for the bridge.
Thank you.
Thank you to the entire community
Congratulations.
and
That's,
around, because we've had donations
very
from
respectable.
all over. Yes, so we're very, very happy about that. Yesterday, we had our meeting with the CAO, mayor and deputy mayor to talk about what's next and how we proceed from here. Mostly we were extremely ecstatic because it's sounding very, very good. We had a little disappointment in that the estimation of the bridge was 2027 instead of 2026. So there are ways of getting around that, but that'll be a council decision and that won't be ours. But we do want to be informed or part of the discussions and that kind of thing. So we are continuing to fundraise because we understand there will be other things that we're going to need to help out with. So I don't know, do you want to say some more, Sharon?
I guess just the community has been really,
Oh.
really positive about this whole bridge concept.
Yeah, you can do the last one.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to do the Sunny Sunday tours down at the park and various group tours. And as soon as you take them to the spot where the bridge is going to be, the lights come on. They totally get why that bridge needs to go in. And that's when the purse strings have opened up. And that's how we got the $130,000.
Yes.
So badly needed, and I'm so grateful to the community and outside the community. We even had some money coming from the States.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah. So if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them. I think that was the big one everybody was wanting to know. And we're so excited that we actually have reached our goal.
All right. Well, again, thank you for coming forward and yeah, I'll open it for questions. Stuart, you go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I'm new to Meaford, so I know nothing about this bridge.
Okay,
I've heard of it, of course, but I don't know where it's to be located, whether it'll be wheelchair accessible, what the real purpose of it is. I've never been clear about whether the park encompasses both sides of the river or just the one side of the river. So if you could just give a
absolutely.
some quick background.
Oh, that's really great because it is a visual, which helps you to understand what's going on. So if you've been by a beautiful Joe Park, or if you've even been there, the driveway is very, very steep and not suitable for walking or with a wheelchair, motorized or not, or a walker for that matter. So what we proposed was to build a bridge connecting what's known as Legion Park to beautiful Joe Park, so that the parking can all be done at the Legion Park. And that would also encompass, as we've been in our discussions, it's going to encompass a roundabout for tour buses.
Oh,
So it'll be mostly parking really with accessible washrooms. The bridge itself, we have a picture on our website of the one in Terra, which is the one we're modeling this after. And it's 6 feet wide and it has high sides, which are rustic. They're looking like an old antique bridge, you know. And it connects the two pieces so that I was going to say something and just anyway, yeah, so I think you can get the idea that the entrance over on Legion Road will be more accessible, and there will be, as were discussions yesterday, there will likely be access from the driveway that's there now, because we'll need it for maintenance of the park. But there's a lot of other opportunities there where we could have accessible parking there as well. Yes, it's very accessible. It's a bridge that is no maintenance to it whatsoever. We wanted to make sure that it would not be a hardship on the municipality to maintain. So it's yeah, the one that we've chosen. We don't know what's going to happen once it goes out to tender, you know, but hopefully they've got the specs, and so hopefully we'll be able to fulfill that. So does that help?
yes, a lot.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. The other part of that is that it will make the two parks one park.
Wendy? Go ahead.
Through you, Chair, is the municipality going to contribute any funds to that bridge? Because I imagine that it's not going to be 130,000 anymore.
No, it's not. It's actually 170, but that's just for the actual bridge. That's what we were funding for. Because we don't own the property, we can't fund for anything else. So the municipality will be doing the engineering, the abutments, or whoever they get to tender will be doing the abutments, and the bridge itself is one that is dropped into the abutments. So yeah, that's what we were funding for, was the actual bridge itself.
Yes, go ahead.
Also, I mean, I know Legion Park, it's a very small park. I cannot imagine a tour bus turning around in there without, are we gonna lose a lot of the trees there? It's already kind of a parking lot, but with trees, are we gonna lose a lot of those trees?
Yes, unfortunately, I think about, what is it, 85% of the trees?
Probably. but
Yeah,
However,
they are what kind again?
Ash.
Ash trees. They would eventually be coming down anyway.
many of them are already dead.
Yeah,
When you go to the park and you actually look up, most of them are dead. then they're gonna have to come out.
As Beautiful Joe Park has a number of them that are also dead.
And the other parks.
And the other parks, yes. It's unfortunate, but once we have the plan, we will be able to plant more trees. It just will be mostly a parking lot, really. And yes, the municipality will be doing that part of it.
Yeah, I'm not really thrilled about losing trees.
No, we're not.
Do we need to plan for tour buses? I just think it's a bit of
This is your
overkill.
Expertise. I'll let you answer that one. Go ahead.
Beautiful Joe Park is a real gem. I like to refer to it as historic Beautiful Joe Park. We have had a lot of interest in the story of Beautiful Joe, that of Margaret Marshall Saunders, and the way that we, the Beautiful Joe Heritage Society, put the park together to celebrate the animal-human bond. Recently, about, oh gosh, every 2 or 3 months through our Facebook feed, you'll see the photo of Beautiful Joe, and it will have come from, for example, recently, the Ontario series.
Mhm.
I think there was 200 and some odd shares from their site. There's been over 300 comments on the one that just happened. This goes on all the time. Because of course, me being me, you see the feed come through and you go, oh my God, what's Beautiful Joe doing now? And it's because somebody else has picked up on the story. And there's more and more times that it's coming through.
Mhm.
The thing that we commented yesterday on was not just the fact that this keeps happening, the interest is growing. Within the comments list, we're seeing, read the book when I was a kid, been to the park, stumbled on the park. The park is beautiful. And these are all separate comments. So the story is out and the park is out. And that's what we've been trying to do.
Mhm. Also, the museum put together some tours. And unfortunately, the tour bus drivers wouldn't go into the park. And so they asked me to do a tour from inside the bus, which was really next to nothing. I mean, you go, well, see way down there, there's a statue there. Do you know what I mean? It just was not working. And then we started doing tours, if you want to call them that, from the museum, which again is just, it's not a visual, it's just, a talking
You need
point.
to get to.
It's, yeah, the park is exceptional. There's a lot of good parts to it, well, a lot of them. And it is a tourist attraction. People wanted to come and stop for lunch. Well, they can't do that if they can't access the park. So we have a lot of plans for the future of increasing that, but right now we can't do that. The tour buses are becoming more and more popular with seniors. They could easily be doing long tours, which they're not doing now.
I'm just going to interject about the busing too. The complication once you're actually within the park and you're standing at the bottom of the hill. You're driving a bus, you're coming down the hill.
Yeah.
There's cars parked in there. Problem is you can't get turned around with the bus to get back out when there's cars in the parking lot. So as far as tours, or kids in school buses, to teach them about the park. We can't get them in and we can't get them out.
And they bottom out, they bottom out too.
That area is quite limited for,
Yes, it
for
is.
bigger vehicles.
There's no doubt that the Legion Park part will need to be graded and all of that. But if there aren't trees that are ones that are ash, they can be left if they're in an appropriate spot. And like I say, we can put more trees in. We've got lots of trees at Beautiful Joe Park to replant. So we're quite happy to do that. We don't like the trees going, but the ash unfortunately are ones that are naturally going, and they need to be replenished with healthy trees. I hope that answers your question.
Gary?
Just again, history. I'm feeling very old today, but actually, pre-COVID, we had a lot of tour buses. They would phone, especially the Scarecrow Invasion. Marilyn would set them up. They would have to park at the top of Beautiful Joe. seniors who were able to get down the hill would go down, but it was really dangerous. Buses will not go down that hill.
That's right.
And so that's when I remember us sitting in the park every Monday for a whole summer with some people planning the bridge. And one of the big points was, and that's before we thought it, before the roundabout, but having people actually access from the Legion side. Because it is absolutely dangerous.
Yeah.
To have anything going down that hill. And so that's sort of just, we used to have a lot of tour buses coming through. I think they're just starting back post-COVID now, so.
I think so. Thank you.
Andy?
Well, I hate to be a killjoy, but I think the unfortunate thing about attracting a lot of tourists is that you destroy the very thing that's attractive. The incredible population pressure that you put on those parks. Beautiful Joe is a very small park. You're in danger of destroying it for tourists and you know, because of tourists, and then residents here don't get to enjoy the few things that we have to enjoy. Secondly, aside from just the population pressure on the park, and I'm not against a bridge, but turning that whole side into a parking lot for buses, I am opposed to. You also have the issue of salt in the winter. Will that parking lot be salted? Because we already have significant area problems in all urban areas with saltwater intrusion, right? We put salt everywhere, and then we have significant sodium chloride issues all over Southern Ontario. So, I mean, those are the couple of issues that I have with that. Yeah, and just for the record, I'm against having tour buses go to Beautiful Joe Park. I think it's overkill.
Thank you, Harley. One point about the salt is that those parks aren't open in the winter, so there's no salt. Okay. Did you want to talk about the tourist part? Because we have people from everywhere coming to the park. Locals, a lot of locals spend a lot of time in the park. Tour buses are only there for a temporary length of time. It's not like nobody can go to the park. They are temporary.
I think we should design for local people first. I understand that tourism is an important part of the city, the municipality's economic, economics. But I just,
This story.
we've got to put people first. Well, let them look at pictures. Let them look from the bottom. Like I don't think they need to be in that small. And also you need to note that having a lot of people, that's a residential area too. I don't really think that people in the homes around that park should have to deal with a lot of tour buses.
I don't, and I could be wrong, I don't think the intention of having the bridge for much improved access is, I don't think the intention is to bring in throngs of tourist groups from here and there. It's always an advantage to be able to bring groups from afar, similar to the Scarecrow Invasion, the Arts and Crafts Show, the Christmas on the Bay. You like to reach out, but I don't. I could be wrong. I think Beautiful Joe is still is always going to be local first. Sue?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to note that we invited them here to speak about the accessibility of the park and not the environmental side of it. So I'm not sure if it's appropriate for us to be asking them to respond to things that they were not asked to come and speak to.
No,
Thank you.
you're right. I really think Beautiful Joe is a unique park. It's not just a stand of trees by a river. I mean, that in itself is important and is much appreciated, but it's the story of beautiful Joe, this dog, the book, and there's that unique special element to this park that I don't know how many other parks can you name that were about a dog, and so there is a uniqueness to me just to the park in itself because of that, and having this accessible bridge to get to this area, I think that just adds to the quaintness of something that we have here in our municipality. Linda?
Harley, I'm just looking at a point. The bridge, we wanted the accessible bridge for our residents. We cut, oh, sorry, it's not on. Okay, thank you. Sorry, we wanted the accessible bridge for our residents. We have many people that have come to that park since beginning, and they can't come anymore because they can't get down there. Or they don't drive anymore. So we wanted something that was accessible, not only to seniors, but also to young mothers with children in strollers and that kind of thing. So the bonus part actually is just that would allow us to have tourists come in a larger quantity, as we do have already tourists coming from all over. Well, we've had people from England, haven't we? Spain, yeah. New
Like
Zealand.
the list is.
Yeah, we
all over the
we
state, all
have
over
people
Canada.
coming now from all over the place. Yeah. And
we
they
don't-
are donating their,
We
buying
don't want
plaques
to
for
turn
their pets.
anyone away.
Pardon?
We don't want to turn anyone
No,
away.
absolutely
From
not.
having the
And
opportunity.
our residents are definitely first, and I'm getting older now too, and I'm not walking up and down that hill. Hopefully I can
So
still drive for a while.
Now that you've reached your fundraising goal, which
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations for that. Are you, are you still working on maybe more donations, or are you?
Yes, we're going to continue fundraising because as we said, the goal was 130,000. That was the cost of the bridge. But the bridge has gone up in price too. We're not changing our goal or anything. We're going to continue fundraising because there will be other things that we'll need to add to maintenance of the park and the bridge or not bridge, but the accesses and pardon. And that we need a new kiosk and things like that we will need funds for. Yeah, so we'll continue fundraising.
Okay, anything further? Or, are we good? And thanks very much. It's been an ongoing challenge for you, and you have stuck with it, and you've met your goal, and to me, that was a very major first step, and I'm hoping we can keep
Yeah.
moving forward.
And we're very grateful to all the people that have donated we have
Well,
amazing people here.
I'm sure it will be one of the items we discuss when we get into our 26 budget
Absolutely.
deliberation.
And thank you very much for having us.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Thank you. All right. Now, we'll go back to item 5A. And even though we were a little bit later bringing it forward, it hasn't lost anything in its importance. And first of all, I want to thank in particular the three individuals who were responsible for doing this this touring, and that in itself was a big job. Now I saw the three of you out one day. Did you get You didn't get all this done in one day, did you? Wow, must have been exhausted. But that was a fairly warm day, wasn't it? Wasn't that one? But anyway, thank you so much. Where do you want to begin, Mary? Do you want to get us started on this?
Sure. So this sort of came out of our last meeting, and so Stuart and Wendy and I just really under Stuart inviting us. We just met downtown, and actually it didn't take too much time. It was amazing. We just walked because we didn't make it a true, if you were really looking at the accessibility of a place, you would do measuring and all that. But we just wanted to see, could somebody get into that space? So so we're really just looking at widths and whether there were steps or there was lips or anything like that. So it was very, very informal, but I think it did give us some information, and certainly we learned stuff from Stu, such as the way the door opens. If you're in an electric chair and your controls are on one side, you can't hold the door on the other. And unfortunately, we were partway through when we thought, oh, we should be looking for door openers, but I think we only missed one. So yeah, so it just gave us some information. So what we did is we just walked up Sykes Street starting. We took a little look at Savvy around the corner. And so what we categorized everything as is whether it was a level or ramped entrance. And if I do this right, is it the middle one? Nope, I did do the wrong one. Leave it to me. Just that one. Okay, there we go. Thank you. So what we looked at is, and our first impressions were, I think we were surprised. Most of the many of the buildings were somewhat accessible or able to get into. As we said, we didn't look at heaviness of doors. We didn't look at, we went by one place that looked like, yeah, you might get in there, but you would never get through the door because the amount of stuff that's blocking anyone going in. So we were, very much just, could we even get in the building? So these are just examples up on the board of level and ramped entrances. So we were very broad in how we looked at this. And it did surprise us, but what we found was the majority of places that had like a level or a ramped entrance on Sykes Street were services, the banks, the hairdressers, things like Hear Well, Be Well, so sort of health places. The worst for getting into were the restaurants, which is probably what most people want to get into. So they were the greatest challenge. And I won't go through this all because we did put that down. Many people can still get in. The next. We wanted to also just say what a little lip was, because some are fairly accessible, but you may have to get up a lip to get in. And so these are just two examples of a lip to get in. So sometimes that's hard to solve, but again, for someone trying to get in on their own, being independent, it can be a bit of a challenge. Many places had a step, one small step to get up. Some place like McGinty's, it's not even a big step, but it's enough to stop a chair going in independently. You'd need somebody behind. Some place like McGinty's has a ramp in the back, but most places do not have anything. And I could get into the history of that because there are reasons, but I'm not going to do that today. I think one of the interesting things was that some people came out and asked us, especially the Book Hive was one of the places, and we knew they had already asked about accessibility to some other people, and that came back to us. How can we get ramped? How can we, can we make this any better? But it was interesting talking to the gentleman because he said, well, we heard that they wanted to make us accessible, when this building was first redone, but the Heritage Committee turned it down. So it wasn't, I think there's more to that story. But I think it also said to us, and it's one of the things we've written down here when we're looking at directions, is we really want to make sure as a committee that we support and use the expertise of each other. So if Heritage is looking at something and it's not accessible, it would be great for them to come and talk to us about it too. And because you can't do everything just in your own little focus, your own little sphere. And we also, there's great economic benefits to being accessible. So we have to make sure that our economic development group knows that and sort of what are the best practices. So this is all in the report and I won't read all that, but it was nice to have someone actually say to us, we want to be accessible. And actually, we know that building that you can get a movable ramp for it because they had one before. So, but they didn't know where to go. So that was our other thing, for economic development, for accessibility. Can we get this information, through the Chamber of Commerce? If we get a BIA, I don't know if that's come yet, but I know there's discussions, how do we get this information? I think that's really good if we can do that, because then even though we can't do much for a private entrance, we can help. It's going to affect us as a town. We can get them some information, oh, well, yeah, if you go on Amazon, it's amazing what you can find, or you may want to do stopgaps. So that I think was another part of our discussion, right, Wendy? Yeah. So the other thing then, quite a few stores were just this one step, and then we had the multiple steps. So if you're at pizza, these places, and most people, I think the one most complained about, of course, is Leaky Canoe. That has this kind of a step. And what you can do with that, I'm not sure. But certainly it does bar a lot of people from being able to use their place. So, but Pizza Hut has 5 steps into it. But what we notice is even if you have steps or are not accessible, it would be very helpful to have just a little sign in your window. Sorry, we're not accessible, but call this number and maybe we can still serve you. And a lot of places are doing that. I know in Brighton, they put doorbells. And so they ring the doorbell and somebody comes out and says, how can I help you? And I know back in the olden days, it was a big thing on our main street because most of it wasn't accessible, that you could arrange with the store, to lend you a pair of shoes or to do this or to do that. But I think there's some customer service that we could look into best practices when some of these old buildings, it's very, very hard. So talked a bit about that. If I'm overdoing this, let me know. And some of the discussions we had. This was nice. The 2 patios we had this year are accessible. And it was really nice, especially the one on the right-hand side there. Like it's beautifully level to the sidewalk. Now, there were some challenges getting a little away from, sorry. Yeah, getting a little away from things we noticed. If we ever redo our sidewalks, I think we really have to look into best practices for sidewalks and accessibility. The other thing, which was interesting, because I don't think any of us had noticed, had we, Stu, when you got out of Stuart got out of the Meaford Moves van at the library, which is great. It's a drop-off zone. Most of it is straight in, as you can see by the one picture. But where Stuart came off the ramp to turn, it was starting to go into a curb, but you really couldn't see it. So we were saying that's a really simple solution. Either you paint up the curb so somebody can see it, or you paint where the drop-off areas. Now it's the actual asphalt is painted, but it's the curb area that was the problem. And yeah, because just a little corner to go up, if it catches your front wheel, it could throw you out of your chair. Stuart, do you want to talk about the intersection at Nelson and Trowbridge? Oh, no, sorry, Nelson and Sykes.
I avoid the intersection of Nelson and Sykes at all costs because of the bridging effect that a power wheelchair has. When the front casters get up and then the back casters are still down and the power wheels are spinning in midair and you're stuck. So you're left asking a passing pedestrian to give you a push. So I just avoid the intersection. I either cross on the road, which I rarely do, or I drive all the way around the block to take advantage of the intersection at Crowbridge and Sykes. When I asked about it, I was told we have to wait until the road gets rebuilt or something like that. But if you go further north, is it? The intersection of Collingwood and Sykes has been done. The intersection of Parker and Sykes has been done. So there are 3 intersections that have been brought up to modern standards. And the main intersection, Sykes and Nelson, has not. So it's a little frustrating. But I've decided to just avoid it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about that is it's bad enough in the good weather, but when the snow builds up in that area.
I'm never downtown in the snow. It's not safe.
Well, I've had to pick my husband up off the street, so. Because of the way the snow goes, and you can't always avoid that, but I think if the construction was better, then, yeah. So anyway, so we just had a couple of, those were our main, I just wanted to bring the pictures because I thought it just helped to show what we were talking about when we said level and ramped and all that sort of stuff. But I think there's lots of opportunities here for us to do, to use our expertise and to use that within the municipality, and you all have the report, so you probably, they're all in there and I won't go through them all, but we really thought we need to have new businesses or projects, if they're doing it, to be reminded about accessibility. You slip it in a little thing and when they're getting their building permit or however we do it, but those reminders, because people forget, and that I think they need to be reminded. And we're a senior town, that we're only going to be doing more of this. And for some of the things, there's lots of information on ramps that you can use that can be put back up on the side of the building until you need it again and somebody needs it, you put it down. So we could share that information. And I think a big one is a lot of people don't share that they're not accessible. And if you're in a tourist area, and I can tell you, because we've done it, I'm sure you guys have done it, there's nothing worse than arriving and finding out you can't go to the restaurant or you can't do this. And it shouldn't always be up. Believe me, if you have a disability, you're already phoning all about things. So I think we should really press with whenever we're really getting back into tourism or putting our guidebooks out, we need to know, are you accessible or aren't you? And unfortunately, the hardest part about that is if you go by the absolute definition, there's probably everybody would have to be at the fire hall because, it's accessible bathrooms, it's in. But you can have it, but you can have a different grading system that says, there's one step in, there's this or that, or call us about our accessibility. But I think it's really, really important that we do that because there's nothing more discouraging, believe me, than arriving. Or somebody told me they arrived with their mother-in-law and she couldn't get in. Yeah, so I think that's one of the big things. And these are all just in the other, is in our little report. And the other thing is, I think we really need to put some fire under our accessibility recognition program. And that might just be that some of us start to push that out so we have some people to award. But I just thought, like, the grocery store just did a whole lot of stuff to do with accessibility. So maybe our committee starting that off, but I think that would be nice. And you guys have, and we just thought the next steps could be presenting to you, of course. But Wendy and Stu were looking at Ontario, I'm not going to say that right. The Access Now database, which is an Ontario database where you can put in, what's accessible in your town or how the accessibility is. Did you get on there, Wendy, yet?
Yeah, through you, Chair. I did get on there. I haven't put anything in. It looks quite easy. There's a lot of nice, they have a map. You can look up Meaford or a specific thing in Meaford. And you overall can grade the thing as like totally accessible, not accessible, or somewhat accessible. And then it's got different things like, and you just easily click accessible washroom, accessible entrance, a ramp, or different, it's got 3 different categories of things. It looks quite awesome. So no, I haven't done that. I didn't know whether we wanted to do it under Stuart's login information or set up my own account. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, yes, Sarah. Yeah.
Firstly, thank you very much for that extremely detailed presentation. Thank you for the time that went into it. As I sat here and listened, my mind went in many different directions on some thoughts of where we could take this to drive this forward. I went into sustainability advisory committee. I went into growing our economy committee. And where I came back to is to get the biggest bang for your buck is I would suggest, if you would be open to it, is a presentation to council. We are headed into budget season. And I think your points are extremely valid. We are currently putting together business directories that will go out to the residents, you know, as a part of tourism, as a part of you know, the sustainability for our residents. And I think that this is a hugely beneficial tool in so many different facets to bring people to our community so they know where to go. And I think that that potentially means some dollars and some direction to staff potentially to work together to work with this committee on making sure that it is hitting our heritage, that it is hitting the growing our economy. And I just suggest that if this committee would be open to it, I would strongly suggest taking this amazing presentation to council and asking for some direction to staff to look into this further, because there are many businesses, the majority of businesses, I can't say all because, you know, there's always that 1%, but the majority of businesses do want to be not just compliant, but they want to be part of the community. And what better way to do that than making their businesses accessible? But sometimes it can be a very daunting task and wouldn't know where to start. And where better to hear it from than the people that it affects most and the people who are being advocates. So that's just, I just wanted to put that forward. I'm very moved by the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. That's a great idea. And I was going to suggest or going to ask, how do we get this to council? Because that's where it needs to appear. We know our municipality is having growth. Our population is increasing. A goodly number of our new residents are in that 55 plus, which unfortunately, when you get into that age limit, challenges become more prevalent. And I think there's, you know, nothing more frustrating than, you know, a family of 6, 8, 10 people wanting to go to a restaurant or go into a business when they're visiting with someone who does have challenges, and before you ever leave the home, they say, well, there's no use going there because it's inaccessible. You know, well, we'll go to a restaurant on Sound or Collingwood or wherever, and that is so self-defeating. And the potential for increased business and increased economics is it's quite immense. You mentioned a couple of our committees. Infrastructure plays a part here with curbs, sidewalks, and so on and so forth, and signage. You know, painting on the pavement and that. All components of that the municipality is involved in they're included in here, and I think just the numbers. I was it looks as if we might have as many as 30. I don't know, 33-40% anyway of our downtown businesses present problems for accessibility, and that's too many. That's too many. We've had the Accessibility Act with us for many years, and it's been out there that more accessible buildings are needed and are necessary, and we are very slowly moving towards them. I appreciate your positive remarks about the municipal buildings, because we have made attempts. Again, this comes at a cost, but we recognize the importance of it. One you didn't mention was the ramp to 15 Trowbridge Street, which is the old library, which is now Sue, you're there now, aren't you? Sarah, you and we've had some moving, and I've often wondered about that ramp, and there are steps there too. Sarah, can
and I'm happy to just touch on that right now through the chair. Yes, we have done some movement of the offices so that we are able to provide a much more customer service focused environment. And with that taken into consideration, the accessibility piece of that, they've all moved now into 21. So there is that availability for easier access to be able to do everything all at once. And so now the old library is closed off to the public. It is just from there's mainly administration within that building.
And I was going to say, except for 2 buildings, we did just do Sykes Street. We didn't do all downtown. We went down some of the side streets. We would add a few more.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Stuart, yeah.
The surprising thing to me, having done this, I had a vague impression of it, but now we actually have numbers, is to realize that Meaford is not an accessible community. It's got some highlights like the library that are very good, and banks that want your money obviously are accessible, but otherwise half the downtown is not accessible to a wheelchair. And I think that's quite unacceptable. I think we need a fairly concerted effort to publicize this problem, and then to, develop 3 or 4 things, which Mary suggested in her concluding kind of points, to take a program forward. I don't want to end up next summer riding up and down Sykes Street with a publicity sign, saying, make Meaford accessible. But I will if I need to.
Oh, thanks, Stuart. It would be great if you don't have to, and hopefully we can continue to improve on our efforts. Sherman, go ahead.
Through you, Chair. I was just wondering, is there when businesses want to do renovations and they go for the permits, are they told that they should be looking into the accessibility to their buildings?
Yes, Sarah.
And I can take that question away and get an answer for you because I don't want to guess on that and I don't have that knowledge and I would like to be able to say with certainty what that looks like and I can take that away and bring that back.
Thank you.
So certainly, accessibility efforts are mentioned, Sherman. I've always been, not always, but for the last several years, been upset that anytime someone gets a grant or a loan through our community improvement plan, and that's often part of that renovation and part of that grant or loan has to do with entranceways. It has to do with windows and repairing the brickwork and but quite often the entranceways, doors and so on are a part of the renos and I have mentioned for years that why can't we include a clause that says that your entrance needs to be accessible and we have continued to give grants and loans for businesses that have not changed their entranceways. They still end up with a step. And to me, that's, you know, that should be one component of approval. I don't think that's too much to ask. It usually adds to the cost, but so be it. Wendy?
Just on the positive side, number one, I think just the fact that we toured around with Stu called people's attention to the issue because there, Mary and I were trying to catch up to Stu, writing notes. And so that was the running after Stu. I think that in a way added, some awareness to the issue. And I just like further to Sarah's point, businesses do want to be accessible. I just want to read a short text that I received from somebody I knew who happened to meet us downtown. She said, "Hey, Wendy, I'm here in the store today and I really keep thinking about this step in here. I know you were with a group assessing the accessibility. Were you coming up with solutions too? We want to address this." So that's very positive.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, did you have some ideas? Again, as a follow-up as to getting this message to council members.
Yeah, thank you. And through the chair, Wendy, thank you so much for sharing that because I think that really is the sentiment of your 99%ers, right? That is what they want to do, but it's very daunting and they don't know where to start. And so I think to really keep progressing this, we could hit each advisory committee one-on-one and work very slowly to get this messaging across. But again, I think where you get the biggest impact is by taking this to council and having that conversation around the horseshoe to potentially request some dollars be put to staff to be able to campaign with businesses from an educational perspective with the assistance of this accessibility committee. I think there's great opportunity there, but we all know that it does take a few dollars to be able to progress some of these things forward. As much as everybody, including myself and my own personal story of my mom when she was with us, that I would have loved to have been able to make things more accessible for her. people are very busy. We are very busy as staff. And, you know, there's many different projects on the go, but I think if it was brought to the Horseshoe to have some conversation and potentially some direction to have staff work with the accessibility committee and the other advisory committees to work on an education campaign for the businesses. I think it's beneficial for everyone, and it touches on so many different of our different pieces and aspects of our advisory committees that it would only be beneficial to them. Again, you know, I just off the top of my head, again, come back to the tourism piece, which, you know, when we talk about the age of our community and what we offer, tourism is a major, major part of that. And we want to draw people in. But much to your point and all of your points, when tourists come, can you imagine being that family of 6 that one has to stay out because they can't get into that restaurant or that business? And I think, although, you know, it has been in play for a very long time, the Disabilities Act and accessibility, it, like much other things, goes along and then it starts to just kind of go off and it gets kind of lost in the weeds. And I think we have a great opportunity to continue to push Meaford up as being a top destination to come to, because we're very inclusive of everybody. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yes, go ahead, Stuart.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that our little committee of 3 who accompanied me up and down the street visit the list of next steps, which Mary put together. There's several others I've thought of, so that we have something tangible to present to council and bring it back to this committee in November, looking to approach council after that with not just the results of our survey, but some tangible suggestions of next steps. And then pick up on Sarah's point and take it to council. And if we have tangible next steps, we may be able to put dollar figures to them.
That sounds reasonable to me. Yeah. Okay. Stuart?
Hi, sorry. Through you, Mr. Chair, I would think if we're going to want to do a motion, that the motion itself is what we send to council. So I don't think at this point we need a motion if we're just making a decision to go back out and do some, is that what I'm understanding? You want
That's fine, whatever you like to call it.
So then we would maybe from that, like after that, if we wanted to do a notice of motion, or if you want to like let me know the details of what you want to ask council, then we can do a motion at that point.
Mary?
If we wait till November, how does that situate, because you were talking money, how does that situate us for the discussions on the next financial year?
Well, I think you're right in the realm. I mean, at the Monday's council meeting, our CAO did discuss that final approvals on budget will not happen until around the February, March is kind of the aim there. But to not lose traction, and I really like Stu's suggestion, and I think that's exactly where you need to go, is to get to that level of detail. But in the meantime, I would urge you to do a request to do a presentation at council with exactly this information, and then we can at the next what we can talk about at the next meeting of the accessibility committee, the details of the dollars and what we think that would look like, and then Sue can put that forward as a notice of motion to council. That's just a suggestion.
So I'm not sure I got this right. So would we do the wait until our next meeting to, and then request to do a presentation? Or we would do it as soon as we can get on the docket with
I
what
would,
we've got and maybe some additions of our next steps?
that would be my
And then
suggestion.
if that goes, then we would get together here at our meeting and talk financial and.
Yeah, and to be clear, the presentation won't um, garner necessarily conversation at that time. It's to get the information in front of council so that when you go back in front to start saying, you know, from a notice of motion perspective, that you're following up your presentation with some further detail, but it's keeping it going. It's not letting it lose traction. And that's the key piece on this, is to not lose the traction.
In that presentation, would we do our next steps? Like say, here's what we think our next steps are, and then. Yeah.
You could, I think the presentation that you put on today was phenomenal. And I think that that would be a first step
Okay.
to council to say, this is who we are. This is what we came up with. This is what we did and we found. And we are going to be coming back to council at a later point in time after our date of our next meeting to have a further discussion about some staff involvement, etc. Does that make sense? Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Just one other thing, because I really think some of the stuff we found out would be really good, and it is in our next steps, you know, to share with someone like Jessica Kenyon, because she's small business in that, and also the Chamber of Commerce, Meaford Downtown. Now, can we do that, or do we have to wait till we present it, or?
No, through the chair. Thank you. No, that is something that we could set time up to have that discussion with Jessica. That wouldn't be a problem at all. We'd be happy to meet with you.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. I just want to mention Jessica is very conscientious of accessibility. I know she does speak with small businesses consistently on it, so she would definitely be a good person to involve.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'd really like to keep this moving, and I guess faster as opposed to slower. What your presentation today has done is, I mean, we've been discussing these type of things now for 3 years, and finally we've got something in front of us with some sort of hands-on detail or feet-on detail. I'm not sure which is most important, but again, as Ms. Mahan said, we likely won't be finalizing the budget until February or even March, but there's going to be a lot of work go into that in the meantime, and I want this to be one of those components. I think the other thing that makes this somewhat timely is the council is, well, today we were having discussions down in Meaford Hall concerning the rekindling of the Business Improvement Association. And I mean, to me, what could be a more natural fit than so? Now, I don't think that's coming back. I don't think the BIA decision is coming back to council until next spring. But it's, as I say, this is timely. This is all about the future BIA, if indeed it does get reestablished. So I think the sooner we get this out there, and the more we get out there publicly, this is the opportune time to get moving on it. And anything more for today? Sue or Sarah, I appreciate your suggestions. I think they make a lot of really good sense, and you know, I hope this can really move us forward in the next few months. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I'm interpreting the comments if I followed them. I don't know the details of how you formally present a motion to council, but I'm interpreting you as turning our group of three loose to pursue whatever next steps we can find and prepare more information so that when we go to council, we're ready and consult with groups like the Chamber of Commerce and this Jessica person and that sort of thing without necessarily having to pass a motion to do that.
Yeah, I don't think, no, I appreciate you bringing the motion idea forward, Stuart, but what I'm not sure if it's really necessary at this time. I think we can take steps forward without having a motion passed. Okay, I have a heading here. It says committee inquiries, and if we are finished with the discussion about the entrance investigations, and I'm assuming the committee inquiries can be about anything to do with accessibility. And anyone have anything else to ask about? Mary?
Just asking, or maybe I'm in the wrong spot. I just wanted to, because it has to do with accessibility and inclusion, but just to let people know December 4th, that we are doing the Spirit of Inclusion concert, take two again. Oh, probably 75 performers with diverse abilities. So yeah, I just hope that you will be able to come, and we're working out all the details, and should be great.
What are you looking at, late November?
December 4th. It's always on the Thursday of Christmas on the Bay, because it's DEI for Christmas on the Bay that puts it on. And yeah, so we're just waiting to hear from one performer, and then we have the whole lineup, and they've been already practicing and going crazy, and our MCs have gone around and they are coming on board. So they let me know. I didn't even get to ask them. So yeah, so anyway, should be great fun.
Yeah, no, it was a really good show last year. I enjoyed it. Well worth taking in. Yes, Sarah?
Thank you. And I'll just, on the heels of your announcement, I just would like to remind everybody that it is Invisible Disabilities Week, October 19th to the 25th. So just wanting, we won't have another meeting till November. So I just wanted to make sure that I put that there. As well, I was remiss in giving some kudos out to a colleague when I was talking about Meaford Moves and about our inability to get a report forward in 2024. As well as getting our details into the government in time, because there is funding that comes with that. And so I would be remiss if I did not just give a quick shout out to our asset management coordinator, Kirsten Harvey, who was instrumental in getting us across that finish line. And my utmost heartfelt thank you to her. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Yes, Sue.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. I just wondered, did we want to reflect in the minutes any of the details, like of you getting together, or do you just want to do it all on your own? You'll make sure that you don't have a quorum.
So we'll just take this and.
Yeah, I think we're safe there. Okay. All right, we're down to the communications, item. The committee will consider correspondence received by members of the public during each meeting. To share your comments, thoughts, or concerns with members of the committee, the public can send an email to accessibility@meaford.ca, and that's all small case letters. When emails are received to this email address, they will be compiled into a correspondence list, which is then distributed to committee members prior to the meeting. The cover sheet of this list will be included on each meeting agenda. The contents of the correspondence list are not included on the public agenda to protect the privacy and personal information of those residents who choose to send in their thoughts and their comments. Is there anything further for today? Okay, well, that's good. Well, I think I've really, I've really enjoyed this session. I think we've touched on a big, important, well, a couple of big, important issues. Certainly the Beautiful Joe saga, the bridge saga, continues with us and seems to be inching forward. And this report that our trio brought to us is just so interesting. The day of the next meeting is Wednesday, November 26, 25, coming up, and I know Mr. Laux has got to get prepared for a committee of adjustment meeting in a few minutes. So if there's nothing else, I'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thanks for your input.